Good morning, and thank you for joining our monthly webinar series on AI Copilot and everything Microsoft 365. We will give everybody another 60 seconds to join, and then we will kick things off. All right, welcome again. Thanks for joining. We are back again today, focusing on Outlook, specifically the new Outlook. Seems basic, but we believe it is one of the most currently hated Microsoft softwares that is hurting adoption of other awesome solutions. And based on attendance, engagement, feedback, comments after the fact, if you were here for part one, more is needed on the new Outlook. So back with me today, same crew, all-star crew. You've seen them before. Keith Harris is our Senior Director of Technology. Mark Cheddar is our Director of Solutions. And Tony Robinson is our Microsoft Practice Lead. Appreciate you guys being here with us. And reminder to everyone as we get started, use the Q&A. We used the Q&A so much last time. I was talking to people afterwards and they didn't know where to focus at times. In the Q&A section or on the presenter, that's all great. Questions are being answered. If we can't answer the questions live, we'll answer via follow-up, email, and blog post after the presentation. So quickly, a little bit about Kelly. We are a mission-driven company. Everything we do points to our mission, so I like to share that to start. We create strategic advantages designed to help our partners grow their businesses. And really, we believe Microsoft Copilot and AI in general is one of the best, most impactful solutions that can really do just this. And I won't bore you with all the details of Kelly Create. A lot of you have been with us before on a webinar, but scan our QR code, check out our website, and any of the solutions we might be able to help you drive those strategic advantages with. I think a lot of you were here for part one, but in case you missed part one of New Outlook, you can visit it on our recent events page. All of our past events are on our page recorded for you to view whenever you need to. And we have them specifically broken down into a Copilot section as well, focused on AI. And before we get started today with the demo, we asked, you answered, what are the biggest frustrations? We shared this in part one. This was back from our June webinar, what the biggest frustrations were from registrations before actually attending the webinar. Limited features, dissatisfaction. I think what we found from part one is a lot of people had started using the new Outlook when maybe it wasn't fully baked yet and just never went back, because a lot of the simple tips and tricks we shared, we were told have helped people adopt in the past 30 days. Not that there's not some frustrations in the adoption, but have started to adopt. This month, again, same question. What are the biggest frustrations? We've got general and user interface are two of the biggest. Again, some simple things we'll touch on, things like settings and just how to use the new Outlook. Common theme you'll hear is everybody uses Outlook differently. And that is one of the best things about the new Outlook is the customizable platform. You're going to see, as Tony shares, Keith shares, Mark shares, none of them use it the same way, and I don't even believe the layout's the same. So customizable based on your workflow. And a little bit of a reminder on the why, won't read all the text to you, but why move to the new Outlook? Other than because eventually Microsoft's going to make you go that way, so probably better to get in front of it. Modern unified interface. So the interface is cleaner, more intuitive, more flexible for you. Number two, it integrates with Microsoft 365. Probably one of the biggest pieces is features that you can't do in classic Outlook, you can do in the new Outlook with integration in Microsoft 365. We'll try to share some of those today as well. It is faster. It's based on the same platform that web is based on. So it is faster. Things like search are faster as well. And at the end of the day, you want to be modern so that you're not being forced into the new Outlook when maybe you're not ready. Covered some different things last time. Today, we're going to get a little deeper. We're going to touch on settings again, just because we believe settings are one of the most powerful pieces and definitely the place to start. If you don't start with settings, your deployment might be able to go smoother. Going to talk about attachments today. Attachments are different, can be done different in the new Outlook. Dive into calendar. And then a big thing we've heard is things like tasks are gone in the new Outlook. So how do we do that now? Because that's a big workflow thing people use, whether it's flagging emails, tasks. We're going to talk about how to do that through To-Do, which is integrated with Outlook. So with that, a lot of content coming to you. Ask questions as we go. Tony, take us away in settings.
All right, thank you very much. And thanks for coming, everybody. I'm going to share my screen out here real quick and we'll take a look. So I'm going to start off sort of maybe following on with where we left off last time and cover settings again, like Scott said, just because it's so important. I just want to reiterate one of the bullet points there. Settings now, this is kind of like what, sorry, my Teams presentation thing here real quick, are kind of what the file menu used to be in the old Outlook, and it's a bunch of other stuff also. But one of the coolest things about settings now is they apply to both Outlook and Outlook on the web, and to a great extent your phone. Your phone doesn't have quite all the options the other two do, but it's sort of once you change it one place, it changes it for all the places. So really nifty there. So real quick, up here in your top right is settings. And since I'm focused up here real quick, if you're on old Outlook and you want to switch to new Outlook, this is how you do it, this little flip switch right here, right? So just to show you real quick, I actually have my old Outlook up. I'll be using it later. Right here, right? So try the new Outlook. There's just a little off on toggle right there. But once you're in new Outlook, if you take away nothing else from what I'm about to show so far, and don't take time right now, we're in the webinar, but take a few minutes, go through settings, see what you might like for yourself. And I'll call it a few sort of things as I go through here that are really important and getting it to really be set up and have the look and feel that you want, because it's super duper customizable. Like Scott said, you'll see mine's pretty simple and compact. Keith's and Mark's are different. So real quick in settings, I'm going to just touch on a couple of the greatest hits here real quick. Dark mode, the single most asked for feature. It's there. Just go into general right here, and there's dark mode. Turns your Outlook nice and dark if you like that. And then the other thing that a lot of people respond on, so just want to make sure everybody has seen it, is under mail and compose and reply, there's this handy undo send option. So if you've used Outlook for a long time, you probably sent something, and you may have even tried to recall the message back in the day, which does work sometimes if it's just within your organization, but doesn't work for anybody who's not yours. Anyway, rather than have to go through, oh, sorry, I didn't mean to do that, you can give yourself up to 10 seconds right here to decide if you want to not send that message. Someone said yesterday, it's great for us emotional senders sometimes. You just write something off, you're all fired up, hit send, and then as soon as you do it, you're like, maybe it wasn't the best idea. They have a little pop-up down at the bottom here with a little undo link where you can just unsend it real quick before anything gets too far along. So aside from that, there's a million and one things in here. I'll just show you real quick under layout. I'm not going to go through all these, but this is probably the most questions we get between like reading pane and what you want the reading pane to look like. So under the mail layout section, this is really what's going to be the base framework for your Outlook. So I just want to show that these are here, and be sure to at least take a look at this when you switch. Be sure you get it looking like you want. Like, I actually don't even like the reading pane. I just want my messages nice and simple. But you may, and there's a few different ways you can do it. And once you have it turned on, lots of different things you can do. So anyway, I just want to call that out as the biggest quality of life improvement that people experience once they get their new Outlook configured like they want it to. And then just a couple other things that I actually like, I'll call out, and then maybe I'll let Mark and Keith give a few as well. So real quick here, if you go into calendar, there's this, when I travel across time zones, ask me if I want to update my time zone. If you uncheck that, it'll just update based on wherever you are. I actually like to be asked, just the way that I end up working with people, most of them end up being on the West Coast. So I kind of want to see if that meeting was at 2 p.m. Pacific time, as opposed to being like, if I'm on the East Coast, I have family and stuff on the East Coast. I might see that it's at whatever time it is, 5 p.m. or whatever, and be like, oh no, can't do that. It sounds too late. That's, I just like to know sometimes that it's in the time zone I normally work. So you can choose, and sometimes I will choose, yes, I want to update my time zone, but I also have the option of not. And then something else that I like, and I actually think it's this way by default if you don't change anything, but contacts. Some people like first name, some people like last name. I tend to think first name when I'm looking for somebody. So I will organize my contacts by first name, but you certainly can choose last name. So wanted to point this out in case you're like me and you have it set last name, but that's not really how you know people. So anyway, that's my other cool feature. So like Mark, Keith, you guys want to jump in with a couple?
Yeah, happy to. The time zone thing is one that I've had to play with, and Kelly operates in 4 or 5 time zones. I find myself in many of them, and my suggestion and advice for all of you is definitely take that 15 or 20 minutes that both Scott and Tony mentioned, but spend a little time with the settings and poke around and but also play with them. I've had to turn some things on and experience it for, maybe 5 minutes or maybe a day or two to really see if what works. But the changes take effect immediately. As soon as you go back into the new Outlook, the changes are there, and then you can start experiencing them. And it might take a little bit, but definitely spend some time in there. I probably adopted the new Outlook, and it maybe took me 90 days to poke around in the settings. Once I did that, it really changed my whole experience. So I would love to share just a couple highlights from my world. So there's a couple nice customizations here. Let me get the meeting out of the way. Under Mail, there is a section for customized actions. So you may have noticed that in the message bar, you have these little tags over to the right. And I think in the old Outlook, you could format those kind of with a table that you could kind of move things in and out and rearrange them. But here we have the option to select what we want. And this is where it gets really customizable for you. So if you were on the last webinar, I mentioned that I'm not a folder person. I don't use folders, and I know many people live and die with folders, and they folder everything. That's just not my world. So I don't want that ability to do a quick action to folder a message. But I do use flags, and I do pin messages, and I want to delete messages. My workflow is my inbox is my inbox. Everything in that inbox is relevant and important, and anything that's not, I delete. And then I work through my inbox daily. So you can turn these on, and then they appear back here for you to take a quick action with. So I can flag this or quickly pin this, or I can just delete this message right there. So really nice way to go for settings and tune that into your workflow. But also, I don't know if any of you have noticed this, but one thing I found was I'm on the go a lot. I use the Outlook web app version. And so it's the mobile app on my phone using Outlook. And I would read messages, and I get back to my desk, and my Outlook client didn't really understand that I had read those messages. So it was kind of annoying that I had to go back through and make Outlook on the desktop appear like I had done the actions that I'd already taken. So I noticed this setting, and it's in the swipe. And so similar to the custom actions above, you have really 2 choices, swipe left or swipe right, and then you can set what that action does. So again, for me, I am going to want to show that I read that message, so that's a swipe right. And then if I want to delete it, it's a swipe left. And again, you can customize all of this, but I found that those couple settings for me just were time savers, efficiency, and then really helped my mobile experience translate into my desktop experience. Keith, I think you've got a couple others as well, yes?
Awesome. Yeah, thanks, Mark. Sharing out my screen now. All right. Yeah, so speaking of settings, and I'll get back to kind of showing you my layout here, but settings that I want to call out is something that actually I know Mark and Scott have been using, and I haven't actually turned it on yet, but I've been excited to do it, so I figure we'll just do it live here. So I went in my settings like Tony did, calendar, and over under events and invitations, get that out of the way. There's a setting here that's shortened duration for all events. And once I click that, now I have the option to end events early or late. And if a meeting is less than 1 hour, I can set the time I want it to end. And so what's cool about this is that if it's less than an hour, maybe I'll just end it 5 minutes early. So if it's a half an hour meeting, it's now going to schedule for 25 minutes. If it's a longer meeting, like an hour or longer, maybe I want to end it 10 minutes early. And what's nice about that is then I can get prepped and ready, maybe use the restroom and get ready for my next meeting. So I'm super excited about that. So I figured I would just turn it on live while we're here. So I'll hit save. And now I've got that set for my calendar, and I'll close out of settings. For those of you that were on our last webinar, you may have noticed, and you may notice now, my layout, I've customized it in a totally different way than how I used to use Outlook. I used to use it more like Tony and Mark, but I decided new Outlook, let's do a new way. So I've got on the left here, I've got the conversation mode. I actually have it in the branched conversation mode, so I can expand these out and see the entire message thread. And I've really come to like that, and I enjoy having all my emails in one place. And then I also have, as you can see here, the reading pane turned on the right, pretty large. So I don't actually use my folder view. I keep that hidden. I don't really use folders anymore, like Mark said. So I'm using a lot of the other features. So anyway, that's just kind of a quick overview there. Another feature that we introduced last time that I'll point out is pinning messages, and Mark mentioned that earlier. So you can see here at the top, I've got this pin section. A few emails are pinned there. And this is great because I actually wanted to show you guys a cool feature. So I've got a pinned email at the top. And what I'm going to show you here is something that I'm super excited about. We've heard positive feedback from other partners as well. And that's the ability to preview attachments in the reading pane. So I've got my email selected. I see there's an attachment McKinsey sent about the Solution Center. And watch what happens when I click this. It pops up this new reading pane or preview mode for the attachment. And so let's get the lay of the land here. So on the left, I've got the attachment. It's about our new Solution Center. We're super excited about. If you haven't heard about it, you will be soon. So now I'm looking, I can see the attachment. I'm kind of reviewing it, and that's great. Over on the right, I've got my traditional email message window, and you can see I'm dragging and dropping. I'm kind of resizing so that hopefully you all can see it. And what I like about this is I'm reading it and I'm going, that's pretty cool. I have some feedback for McKinsey about this document. And what I would do historically is I would close the attachment or close the preview window. I'd switch over to Outlook, go back to the original email, start typing. But with this new mode, what you can do is I can actually do a reply to McKinsey right here with the attachment still open. And now I can actually start typing my email. So, hey, this is great. This is great. You know, looks good, on brand, and I think marketing will approve. And to be fair, marketing already did approve. So now I've done that, I've typed my message. Sometimes I'm like, oh, but you know what? But there was this one little thing, however, can you update the last line for me? I don't know. Bogus message, right? Doesn't matter. So point is, I've now made a message, but I was like, I can review this document the whole time. I've got it pulled up while I'm typing my email. My email looks good. That's what I want to send. Now I'm going to go ahead and hit the send button, get the message that the message has been sent, notification that the message has been sent, and off we go. So I really like that, super time saving. And I just love the ability to look at that attachment while I'm typing an email. Okay, so talking about attachments, let's talk more attachments. So the way that I've always done attachments, I'll start a new email here. So you see it pops up in my reading pane on the right. The way I've always done it, and maybe your workflow is the same, maybe it's different, is I like to drag and drop from my documents. So let's go back to that same Solution Center document. I've got it stored here in my OneDrive files on the left. And what I want to do is share this attachment. So normally I just drag and drop. Oh, look at that. Check out what happens as I drag this email over the message pane. I get these two tiles that show up, and you see as I move from left to right and right to left, they turn blue. So this first one here is upload to OneDrive and share the link. Over here on the right is attach files, which is going to be my typical attach file. We're all used to that. But I don't want to do that this time. Let me just remove that. As we all know, Microsoft's driving for more collaboration. Probably a lot of us use our email as our file storage as well. And at some point we hit the limits and then our email stops working. We can't find things. So Microsoft's really driving us to do more collaboration through OneDrive and SharePoint and Teams. So what I want to do is I'm going to drag and drop. I get the option to attach or share a link. I'm going to let go of the attachment. Now it's starting to generate the OneDrive link for me. It tells me that. It gives me an option too if I want to attach instead, but I don't. So now I've got the email or the document linked here from OneDrive. I can send it off to anyone I'd like. And, I'll send it to Tony and I'll say, please review. And now I've sent off that file as a OneDrive link, not as an attachment. So something that I kind of forget about because I don't do it, and maybe a lot of you do, is when I do a new email message, a lot of people like to attach the file using the attach file button. So if I click that up here in the ribbon, now I get a few different options. And if I do browse to this computer, it's going to give me my typical Windows open file dialog, and I can go browse and find the file and attach it that way. But I don't want to do that. So same thing, attach file. This time I'm going to pick OneDrive. And so, okay, cool. I can go see my personal OneDrive. That's great. But we store a lot of our files in Teams directly. And so what I normally do is I go into Teams, download the file, save it in my OneDrive, and then I come in here and attach it. Kind of cumbersome. It's a pain, adds to a lot of clutter. Notice here on the left, while it defaulted to my OneDrive and my recent files, and you can see here's my file structure and here's shared with me, there's this option called groups. And what are groups? Well, they really underpin so many features in Microsoft 365, including Teams. So as I look at this, I realize, hey, this is Teams, and I want to go to the IT tech team. I know we have some files in here that I don't have in my OneDrive. Ah, there it is. I'm looking for the tech stack draft. Just found that file. I can select it. Notice as I selected it, and I'll deselect real quick, but as I select it, notice I get this blue share link button, and I could just click that right now. But what I want to do is hit the drop down and just show you that I have a couple options. I can share it with the link, or I can attach it. Kind of defeats the purpose to attach it in this scenario. I want to share a link, so I'm going to pick share link. And again, now it's adding this file. It's creating the share link from OneDrive, or specifically from Teams, I should say. So now I did not have to download the file, browse to it, find it, drag and drop any of that stuff. And again, now I can send Tony this email. We actually have a call. So again, please review. He's going to be busy reviewing documents today. So please review before our call today. And so I'm going to go ahead and send, and off it goes. So really powerful, super cool, integrated into Teams there. Okay, here is another feature I'd like to share with you guys. Again, I'm super excited about. If anybody's been really kind of looking and studying my layout in Outlook here, you may have noticed down at the bottom something different. And what this is Microsoft's tabbed interface for Outlook, and specifically the new Outlook for Windows. And so this first tab showing me the email that I have open, Kelly Create Solution Center. But notice I've got this other message down here, and I can tab over. And so if you're anything like me, you're working throughout the day, and sometimes you're typing a response to an email. And in this case, Kathy, our partner, our great partner over at SureWeb, said, hey, we've got these times available. Let me know which one works for you. I don't know about you, but now I got to stop what I'm doing, go look up everybody's calendars, and get back to it. And sometimes I forget to do that right away, or it takes a little bit of time to do that work, and I get a chat message from Teams, or somebody walks into the office to talk about something important, and so I stop typing mid-sentence, and that's what I had done here. So what's really cool about this tabbed interface is that now my draft, while it still shows up in my normal drafts folder over here, I'm actually able to see my email drafts in this tabbed interface. So I can actually, it gets me right back on point. I've gotten into the habit now of looking down at the bottom at my tabs. Sometimes I'll admittedly get 2 or 3 because of the squirrel moments. And it reminds me, hey, I gotta hit send on this. And so now I can come back and go, okay, hey, Kathy, I looked, and the best time is going to be, Tuesday. And again, hit send, off we go. So super excited about that. I think it's a total time saver and something I would encourage you to take a look at. Okay. Last thing I wanted to share is around calendaring. Let me pull up my calendar. Okay. So calendar, really what I wanted to point out is, again, last webinar, we talked about the search functionality, new and improved in new Outlook. And one thing about this is that the search functionality is unified from Outlook all the way through to the calendar. And so I really like this feature. I've been relying on it more lately. So for example, I know Neil, our contact over at Microsoft, we have a biweekly call with him. Well, he's going on vacation and he canceled the next meeting or two. And I was on the road. I don't remember which ones he canceled. So I'm going to search for calendar appointments with Neil, and I'm looking for my next one. So I can see my historical ones. Okay, great. Yeah, we did meet on the 17th, but I would be expecting to meet with him towards the end of July. Well, now I see here my next appointment, or our next appointment with Neil, is on August 14th. And so I found that pretty quickly. I can come in here, see the agenda. So I found it super helpful, this search functionality, and it is unified just like it is in Outlook there. So I'll go ahead and clear this out. And the other thing I just wanted to point out, another feature that's super neat, is the filter ability. So up here in the ribbon, I can click filter and you'll see this drop down come up. And there's a lot of cool things that you can look for, like if I'm the organizer, or if I'm attending and I declined or accepted, or if I'm following, hint, hint, more to come on that. Categories we talked about last time. You can have categories assigned to meetings and appointments. Things like recurrence. I don't know about you, but I have a lot of recurring meetings, and it kind of clutters up my view. In fact, my calendar looks pretty cluttered right now. So I can just deselect series, and all of a sudden, all of those recurring meetings go away. And now I can see, maybe it helps me to see my calendar in a little bit cleaner, different way based on what I'm looking for. There's also an in-person function, which is really cool when you schedule a meeting. I know not everybody's doing it yet. And so I think if I clear the not requested, you'll see my calendar clears up. I don't know that anyone has an appointment for me. Oh, there's one. Looks like myself or John actually scheduled this appointment, and we said, hey, this is in person. And there's as you create the meeting, you can select if it's in person or Teams. You can see Teams toggle is off, in person is toggled on, and then it throws in this little in person in the brackets there. So pretty cool. Now I know, oh, okay. If John and I aren't in the same office, which we are, I might need to drive somewhere. So a helpful little way to find that. And of course, we can just clear filters and then back to normal. I also use this little today. I'll just show you while I'm here. Get my calendar reset back to today. Good to go. So that's a little review of some of the things that I've really been finding enjoyable and helping me be more efficient with calendars. And I know Mark is going to show another really cool feature with calendars that we're all excited about.
Yeah, thanks, Keith. That reminded me, when you're showing the in-person and Teams meeting, there is a setting, I forget exactly where it is, but I've come across it before, where you can have the new Outlook embed the Teams meeting automatically every time. And I actually turned that off because I do want to, sometimes I want those in-person meetings. So it forces me to toggle that it's for Teams, but sometimes it's nice to just have that on. Again, kind of dealer's choice on the workflow that works for you. So one of the newer features in the calendar that has really been powerful for me is the follow feature. So this may not be available for everyone, but when you have a meeting request come in, essentially you have a fourth option now that you can choose. So instead of yes, tentative, or no, you have a fourth option called follow. Now the follow feature is only available in the new Outlook and Outlook for the web. So I don't believe it's in the Mac version. It's also not a feature that's available on the mobile version, but I'm sure all of this is coming. So a couple things to be aware of. As an attendee, one of the nice things is I can follow a meeting, but it still shows my meeting time at that particular time as free and available because I'm not attending, I'm following. I can still access the meeting details, the chat, the notes, and if the meeting's recorded, I'll get a transcript. And I'll show you that here in a moment. Also, I'll be notified when that meeting recap becomes available. As the organizer of a meeting, you'll receive a notification that if somebody chooses to follow that meeting, you'll also be reminded to record the meeting in Teams when it starts as the organizer. And if you haven't hidden the attendee list, everyone in that meeting can see who's following the meeting. So those are some optional settings when you create a meeting, is to maybe hide the attendee list. Not something I do very often. But let me show you what following a meeting looks like after the fact. So you can see my calendar here. I'm in strategic planning all day on this day, July 9th. However, I wanted to follow this particular meeting, which was a weekly sync meeting for an onboarding with a new partner. So I click into the meeting and I have the option here to view the recap. I can't tell you how much time this has saved me. There's a lot of meetings going on in everybody's world, and there's a lot of information I want to have. And so I follow many meetings that are weekly review meetings, this type of sync meeting, and I can simply go into and view the recap. And now I have the notes. And so Copilot's doing the work here. It's capturing meeting notes. You can watch the video. You can see kind of on the timeline who's talking and maybe go to some specific points. There's topics. There's maybe chapters in the meeting that are important. But I hear the notes and I can read this all in a couple minutes. And now I know what happened in this particular meeting that was a half an hour or maybe an hour long. What does this do for me? I don't have to bother Aaron in this case and ask him for a debrief. He does not have to write up a debrief for me. We don't have to consume other people's time to get ourselves caught up. And it's all right here. A couple of things that are interesting, right? We've got the follow-up task, so I know kind of how this is tracking, what's going on next. If they happen to, mention me, which I don't think they did in this one, there might be a couple of things that they're calling out for me, knowing I'm following the meeting. Couldn't make it that day for some reason, but at the same time, I can get called out on certain things. And then the full transcript here is available. So if I want to just read that whole conversation thread, you can go through the whole thing and kind of capture what's been going on with that meeting. If they happen to make any notes in the meeting as well, those are shared. So, talk about a huge time saver and a great value. And again, only available in that new Outlook. So lots of things are happening here where Microsoft's trying to really change the game in terms of this whole integration with all the different things happening. And this is just a great feature that's enabled with essentially Copilot, right? Now listening in and recording and transcribing those calls. So I would encourage you to have participants, maybe remind them, hey, can you please record that meeting for me? I can't make it, but I'm going to follow along. Another great thing in terms of just how Outlook is integrating with other tools. I think I showed this last time, but in case it didn't quite stick, or we've got some new people attending today, when you're doing a search. So I'm getting messages all over the place. I'm getting messages coming in on my phone, coming in on Teams, coming in email, and sometimes I can't always remember where that conversation happened, but I want to go back to it. So if I do a search for Tony, I'm trying to think about something that I need to get back to Tony about, maybe cruising through my email, going, which one was this? Where is it? Up at the top here, we also have access to Teams right inside of the new Outlook. So I can go in and I can find out that, oh, you know what? That was actually something that we were talking about in a chat. And so I can go right into that chat. I can go right back to that message in Teams and just reply right there. So another great time saver, just Microsoft's, organizing all this stuff on the back end for us and putting it in the right places and giving us quick access to get there, get back to where we were at that particular moment during the day, or maybe 3 days ago, or maybe last week, but all kind of really nicely embedded in the new Outlook. So instead of having to go back to Teams and roll through all the back history messaging trying to find this one, I can search. And of course, you can continue to search and even apply filters and do more things like that to even refine the search further. So if you didn't pick up on that last time and you're new this time, I really wanted to share that because I really love how these things are just embedded all together in the Outlook experience. And I know we're going to show a little bit more today about how other things are embedding into Outlook and leveraging across the Microsoft 365 landscape. Tony?
Yep. Thank you, Mark. And you're sending out those other embedded things. So I'm going to share my screen out again. We're going to start taking a look at To-Do. And while I'm sharing out, just to call it out, To-Do is the new tasks, right? So I think this is mostly old because it's been working fine for a while. But originally, when New Outlook was released, tasks just had no analog in New Outlook, right? So that was from the preview phase before it was real deal, which was like last August or something like that. So the good news is now tasks and To-Do, so I'm going to pull this up my Outlook, little check mark thing right here. Tasks translate to do automatically. You don't have to do anything. And should you use Outlook for a while, new Outlook, and want to flip back to Classic, they're actually synced. So to-dos you create will sync back to tasks in Outlook. I'll just show you real quick. I've actually got my Classic Outlook up here. And you can kind of see it's organized a little bit different, but starting at Kelly, create Microsoft licensing, new Outlook webinar, test email, blah. So it's the same thing, just to show you. What's in tasks here is in to-do. And to-do is in the old Outlook, by the way. So a lot of these things we're talking about too, just to spend a second on the integration part. A lot of them you can do in some fashion in the Classic Outlook, which is great. It's just not going to be developed anymore pretty soon, and it can't do everything, and new Outlook's going to get better and better for integrations, like Mark was showing you with the pulling up Teams conversations in the search. So one of those original points Scott showed you was integration with the rest of Microsoft 365. New Outlook is just better at it and will be getting better all the time. And to-do is one of those things. So to-do is like tasks from Classic Outlook, but it's got a whole bunch more stuff. So we'll just real quick start with the task part of it. Let me find a good one here. So not only can you do a task, and like in the old tasks, you can add a due date, right? You can, I think you can task file, I'm not 100% sure. But now one of the main things you can do is you can actually add steps in a task, right? So it becomes very much, hey, here's my task I have to do. I've probably got a due date, maybe a reminder to do it. But I can also sort of give myself the steps I need to do and check them off as they've been done, right? So in this one, I've got a couple, and I think I will actually check this one off because we figured that one out. And you guys can't hear it, but it gives, I really like the tone it gives when you check something off. It's super satisfying. So then the other things down here that are really cool, you can add notes. We mentioned attach a file. Let me just show you one that has notes in it here. Oh, yeah, sorry. Speaking of notes, we'll show you this in a second. But lots of cool stuff here. I'm getting off track, so I'm going to get back focused here. So lots of extra features in the task that you can do now, right? And when it translates back, those features are just missing. So if you had steps in a task and you for some reason had to roll back to tasks in Classic Outlook, you just wouldn't see the steps. You'd still see the task and the due date and whatever else, and it would be okay. So real quick here, a couple cool things about this. These are tasks, right? These are my tasks that I've created and I manage them. But there's also several other things to do pulls in, and I'm going to spend a little bit of time talking about that. My day, this is just things that are due today, right, from any of these other categories we're talking about. I happen to only have one thing due today, which is that meeting Keith reference later we'll be talking about. But if you had other stuff here, you can see it. So really cool little summary of what's going on with you today, and I'll come back to that in a little bit. But then there's these other categories, right? So important, these are things that I have starred. And if you look at my tasks here, I've only starred one of them, so these other ones are from these other areas. So they all get slurped together as important tasks, right? So it doesn't matter where you get them from, they're summarized here for you. Planned, these are the ones that actually have a due date, so you can kind of see like what your timeline's looking like moving forward. And these again are from anywhere. And then this is the big one, assigned to me. So we mentioned integrations. To-do integrates with Outlook, but to-do also powerfully integrates with Planner. Planner is like a Microsoft project planning software. It's, like Project Very Light, Monday.com. Think of those types of things. And just to show you real quick, I've actually got it up here. This is our tech team Microsoft Planner, right? So it's Kanban, if you're familiar with that. It's very similar to that, where you've got these sort of swim lanes. You can move stuff from left to right. It's not quite that, like it's not revolving around that like a Kanban board might, but you can see tasks with items in here that you have to take care of. Don't want to go too into that, but we want you to know that there's this planner software out there, and tasks integrates with it very nicely, and super powerful for managing projects. So on this assigned to me section are not just my tasks, but they're the tasks that people have assigned me from their planners, right? So their plans. We've got several of them. You can see Mazama Projects has one, McLaughlin Projects has one, here's Urco. There's all kinds of things, plans out there that I get tasks from, and they all show up here for me where I can star some of them, right? And then they show up in the important section. So really nice for just collaboration and tasks in general between teams even. These aren't just for me anymore. This is also stuff from other places. So that is these basic sections right here. Also want to call out, if you like to organize your stuff, I am, kind of like Mark said, I just like the one line of stuff to do, and my inbox kind of translates to tasks. But you could create a new list. You know what I mean? If I wanted, we'll just do webinar test. You can do this, and you can see it appears in the left nav. You can have as many of those as you want, and they can have their own task group that way. Now, if you favorite one, it'll still show up here in your important tasks. You know what I mean? If you have it assigned, they'll still show up in planned if you have a due date on it that's coming up. So this just is a further way to organize your tasks into do however you want. So real quick, a couple other really nice things about this. You can actually, in the integration part, if we go back to email real quick, I can create tasks or things, I can track things into do straight from an email, either flagged or creating a task. So real quick, I'm just going to flag a couple. This looks important from Keith. Better look at that. And then this one from Rob, definitely want to follow up on. But aside from those that we'll show you in a second, you can also just go to any given task here. And I'm going to take this guy right here. And Keith definitely wants me to review this for our call today. So I'm going to create a task based off of that. And look what it does, right? It's just automatically popped up my to-do here with tasks. And here's my please review before our call today task, right? So create that automatically. And just call it out since I'm here. If this wasn't here and you just want to know what's going on in general, that is this little guy up here at the top, my day. Same thing as we saw in the other one. So you can see both your calendar items coming up and your to-do here, right? So if you don't want to go specifically into to-do and see the whole big screen, you just get a summary of it right here real quick by clicking this button up at the top. So I'm going to go back to to-do again and just show you that task. I'm going to get rid of this little my day thing. So if we go to flagged email, come on, it takes a minute to show up. It's not showing up quite yet. All right, so it will show up here in a second. Let's just make sure the flags stayed. And yes, they did. All right.
Hey Tony,
Yeah.
if you don't mind, I've there's something really cool that I've discovered. I don't know that you and I have talked about it. Would you mind going back to your email
For
and
sure.
let's have your the to do on the right side there, like you had it.
Yep.
So
So my
you would
day,
right
port
click.
my day. Yep.
Perfect. Okay. Go into an email. Go maybe to one of the CSP license ones. Yeah. Click into one of
for
those.
sure.
'Cause I bet you there's going to be something in there. So why don't you highlight that second sentence? Just left click. We might
like
need to
you're
wait
saying-
until the renewal period.
Oh, gotcha. Here.
Yeah,
Yep.
just a little test. And as you let go, try it one more time. I saw it happen. Let go. Okay. Now see that little menu that popped up? See the one on the far right, create task? Go ahead and click
nice.
that. Yeah, click that guy. You just created a
Yep.
task from highlighting and selecting text in an email.
Yeah, very
which
nice.
I think is super cool, super powerful. And I know it works both in the new Outlook, but also if you use Outlook on the web through Edge. So
Yeah,
cool.
that's actually pretty cool. One of those things where it's like, whatever, we need to do this thing, and let me just create a task for myself right now. Love that. That is awesome. So you can see you learn stuff about this stuff all the time. Thank you, Keith, for pointing that out.
I'm pretty sure that when you
Yeah.
see that to do in to do, and it has that little email reference, it's a link back to that message as well. So if you've kind of lost your train of thought about what was this thing, it's quick click back to go to the message where you created that task from. I think the new to do is fantastic. I've been really leaning into it, and unlike the former to dos that I kind of looked at them as just action items, do this, do that. I'm building out my to-dos now more as an outcome-oriented process. So I think we showed it, but you can create several steps under a particular to-do.
Yeah.
So I look at things kind of further out and say, hey, we need to accomplish X, Y, Z. And in order to do that, I need to do 17 different things or 4 different things to get to that finish line. And really nice, and you can actually take an action item that's tucked into that list, and if you determine, hey, you know what, this is a little bit more important, you can actually promote it forward as its own item. But I just really like it. I'm a list kind of person. I like to write things down. Also, just so everybody knows, there is an app, a mobile app for your phone for To Do. So you can also get to Do from the Outlook mobile app. There's a way to get there, but I have just simply downloaded the To-Do app and it all syncs. So I'm out in the field, I'm somewhere, at dinner, and I had this thought pop into my head that there's something that I need to do, or I forgot to record that note. I just pop open To Do, type it in there, and boom, it's there for me tomorrow. So really great on the go, more outcome driven than just task orientated process, and all this interaction and embeddedness with all the other things 365. Again, hopefully everyone can start seeing how the new Outlook is really bringing in our full daily experience with all these tools at Microsoft, and all this stuff's really just built into the licensing. Get the apps, get Business Premium, so forth. You're going to have a lot of these features.
Yep. Yeah. Thanks for calling that out, especially the app on the phone. I was going to mention that, and can be super useful if you're, like Mark said, it's maybe it's not for everybody, but if you live in these tasks quite a bit, imagine just having it on your phone real quick. You can pull it up whenever you want, text stuff off, see what's next. All that good stuff. So
I mean, I used to use OneNote, right? And I used the little checkbox icon, and I had a big, hairy, long page of to-dos, but they're all here. And then, of course, you got a completed section, so you can see that. And I was chuckling, Tony, because I get a big kick out of that little bell ring when it happens too. It just feels good.
Yeah. Yeah. And this My Day thing is super nice. Just want to call it out one more time so I didn't spend too much time on it. At least for me, I'm usually in email, like trying to figure stuff out, and then I just want to see real quick what might be going on. So I don't keep this up all the time, but I do check in on it every once in a while and then get rid of it for more real estate. So I find it pretty handy. And you can, rearrange these things pretty easy, if you need to, up, back, wherever you want to put stuff. So you can order it however you want. And that wraps up the basics of To-Do with a little bit of time. You can keep you guys a full hour, thankfully. And just want to, last thing I'll say, Mark kind of touched on as well, is integration is the key to this, right? It's not so much that New Outlook has revolutionized email. We've all been doing that since 1990, right? So it's that it integrates with all the other parts of Microsoft 365, or at least more and more parts every day in more and more powerful ways. So it really will be I think, a key tool going forward.
Yeah, and the other just quick thing, I can't remember if we touched on it or not, but just in case, you can set dates for reminders on to-dos, and it pops up like a calendar reminder kind of thing. So, the system will alert you. So I put these notes in and I say, okay, I got to have that done by next Friday. I must do this by that point in time. And you can set that date, or you can set the reminder schedule that you want, but also really nice because for me, it's too much stuff going on. I need to sort of kick things down the road, but I also want to make sure I get back to it. So To-Do has just been paramount in my daily experience.
Yep, reminders are great.
Great job, fellas. Ton of valuable content. Our recommendation for everybody attending, as well as there was a lot of content there. Don't feel like you have to take all of it away. Are there 1, 2, 3 things you can take away, start using today, start using tomorrow, that make your workflow easier? So a lot of content, but you can scan back to it anytime. What is that 1, 2, or 3 things that maybe you can use today, tomorrow? I think we did a pretty good job of answering Q&A throughout, and we're coming up to time. Shout out to our unofficial chat monitor, Adrian Santangelo, for providing a ton of great answers on the fly to users. If we scan back and notice we didn't answer a question, we will get that out to you. We'll get a follow-up email out to you as well with the recording and a blog post highlighting some of that Q&A either Friday or Monday. Appreciate everybody being here. We're going to transition next month to Microsoft Teams. We've talked about Microsoft Teams in the past, but Microsoft Teams, as Outlook has changed also with some updates, with some more integrations. So we're going to explore Teams further. And as you see, each time we're reviewing a different application, weirdly enough, we're talking about the other applications as well because of that ecosystem and integration between them all. So a lot coming at you in Teams next time, some more Copilot tie-in to Teams also. Scan the QR code, register for Teams next month. Thank you again, everybody, for joining. One winner will be picked by Microsoft Copilot for a $100 Amazon gift card. Any questions, email us, and we'll do our best to answer. Thanks for joining.
Thanks, everyone.
Thanks, everybody.